Appreciate that, Rhino. We're pleased to welcome now. It is Judy Young, the CEO of Coastal Mississippi Tourism. Judy, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Good to see you.
Another great cruise in the coast, it looks like. I've got to share again, and I know the audience that's been tuned in the entire show may be tired of me saying this, but I'm going to say it again. I think the crowds are bigger this year at this point of the day than I have ever seen in my years of coming down here.
It's been that way consistently. I was in Gulfport on Tuesday, and I know that it was at least a third more than last year.
Okay, so I'm not dreaming.
Tuesday.
That's just eyeballing it. It just looks bigger, which is good.
And the cars, I don't know, this year maybe everything's just better because they look shinier.
Shinier, I love that.
There's a lot
Even though they're a year older, they look shinier.
There's a lot of care and keeping going on.
Well, that means that the curators of these vehicles have been out getting them ready for cruising the coast. They want to showcase their assets, and they're proud of them, and I don't blame them because they're exquisite and they're a sight to behold clearly, and that's what attracts all these great people. I came in last night, and the roads were already lined with folks in their lawn chairs, as you know, along Highway 90, wanting to take in the sights of these vehicles going back and forth just like we did in the old days. That's why we call it Cruising the Coast. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, we used to cruise Sonic every, Friday nights after the football game. So it's great, and I've had family in town already. One left this morning. Another group comes this afternoon. So it's great, and there's a 48 Crosby over there that is fantastic.
That's amazing.
I would look precious in that.
Well, you might have to go cut you a deal.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it's a huge, just the magnitude, but also the economic impact.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. We can't really overstate that, can we?
No, $37 million.
Unbelievable.
Mainly new dollars.
Yeah.
Not, dollars that are already here circulating.
That's right.
So importing that kind of wealth to 3 counties with a consistent event product delivery, I mean, that's exceptional. It doesn't happen.
And you wonder, Judy, that since we've had casino gaming has been legal on the coast here, and based on all the other rules that are required, the criteria, without all the hotels these folks built, I'm not sure this event could be this big.
It couldn't. And, our capacity has increased with the short-term rental market. There's an upside, there's a downside to that, but it enables, another 8,000 rooms to be in the market.
Man. Yeah.
So you have the ability to really create a family-friendly product that can reach that capacity. It's really exceptional. I always get really excited because I love going to the events like in Moss Point and Pascagoula.
Yeah.
Long Beach, we were over there. So, it moves it around the coast, and it is a one-coast effort.
It's incredible. And, of course, when you combine the resources and the efforts of the 3 coastal county, you can have big events like this. It would be kind of difficult to do this, would it not, if it were just a single county? And it'd be a much smaller event.
It'd be a much smaller event, and the onus of the expenses of that event would just be on one entity, so that would be difficult as well. And I think that the retail impact is really a story in its own, because I have a lot of small retailers, 2-people shops. And this is right there with Christmas on what their revenues are. So that's really outstanding. And, it supports the 27,000 employees. So that's, when you think about tourism as an industry, it's as much a part of the 3-legged economic development stool as there is. It's a big employment center.
We're talking to Judy Young, CEO of Coastal Mississippi Tourism. So how does the Coastal Mississippi Tourism Organization, how do you promote this event?
We actually started promoting this event about 2 months after the last cruising, and we do so with a geo-targeted effort. So we can, use the IP addresses on phones, and so we know exactly who the customers are and exactly where they're from, and what media they're looking at other than traditional. And so we have a very specific approach to how we market to them. We do a lot digitally, but because of the demographics of this event and what they draw, we do have a lot of print still, and a lot of radio, and a lot of traditional television as well.
Do you have some way of tracking the folks that come to the event, perhaps participate in the event as a direct result of those solicitations?
We do. We have several tags in our marketing, but we also have the ability to get a report with a program that the credit card companies use that tells us in these 3 days, these people at this location spent this much money on their credit cards and stayed at this location. And then we can also tell them the 3 top other attractions they went to from the one they stayed at the most.
Okay. Is this information you share with the retailers, the shops, the hotels, and so forth, so they can do their planning accordingly?
We do. We try to do it in summary.
Okay, sure.
Because when you get down into the minutia, it's a little terrifying because it's a lot of information, and people get uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
But yes, we do. Any of them can request us to geofence their attraction, their shop to a certain extent, because you can't get all the way down if there's a bunch of shops next to each other.
Right. Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's available, and it's a pretty, as you know from your background, it's a very specific scientific formula for each persona.
Yeah. It's really part of the whole world of data analytics and mining for data, and all that data is floating around out there. It's just a matter of having the tools and putting a little effort behind scrubbing, organizing, structuring that data in a way that is meaningful for decision making. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, you got to do A/B testing and figure out what message works and cut off what doesn't, and change this or that. So it's very different from having a media buy, putting a billboard up, and calling it a day.
So-called shotgun advertising that you kind of hope does the trick, but you really don't know. But when you're targeting the specific folks that are more likely to respond positively, that's a lot more effective, a lot more valuable.
A lot more valuable. It creates a lot more repetitive visits.
Yeah, makes sense.
And, but that's really up to the destination to fulfill that product.
Yeah.
So we sell something that we don't fulfill.
Yeah, that's true.
So we all have to be on the same team.
That's a good point, yeah. So along those lines, we got Woody Bailey coming up next. Of course, he is the executive director of Crusin the Coast. Really his vision, his founding. Do you guys collaborate with his organization as well?
We do. We work with them all year round on keeping their event top of mind for their very specific audience. And, fortunately, that's not hard because gearheads, motorheads, car people they're really proud.
It's a community.
And they, I grew up in this industry.
Okay.
My brothers were gearheads. My dad was a mechanic. My grandfather was a mechanic. One of my cousins is actually the head restoration guy for Jaguar in Austin, Texas. So I grew up in car auctions and pushing cars across the auction block. So it's I love it because it's timeless and it's family oriented, and we have developed into a great family destination.
They have the common bond of their love for these classic vehicles, and they travel around. Many of them do. Even folks here that participate and exhibit their vehicles, they also attend the other shows, do they not?
They do. They are 10 shows across the country. I was excited. We have Miss Mississippi here today.
Yeah, coming on later on the show.
She got up and started walking around, and then it was like, could you take a picture in front of my car? How about you take a picture in front of my car?
Wasn't born when these vehicles were made.
No. She sat down in that yellow as a Bel Air, and the steering wheel was like...
not accustomed to that.
This big
that you have to turn about 4 times to make a right hand or a left hand 90-degree turn. Yeah, it's incredible.
They were talking about that would be the one that had enough crown room for her.
That's right, for a crown. That's exactly right. That looks like, what, a 55 or 56 Chevy in front of us?
I think so. But it's all original inside.
That's incredible.
He was very proud of it. And
it should be.
The investment that is made in these vehicles is, if you're a family and this is what you're doing, you love cars.
Quite the hobby.
You love cars, and it's absolutely incredible, and it drives people throughout the 62 miles. Everybody gets a shot at their piece of the pie of
Really
cruising.
cool. Yeah.
And it is a lot of fun. And again, $36.8 million economic impact.
Unbelievable.
For family fun.
Love it. Great job. Yeah, fantastic. Crusin the Coast underway right now. We've been talking to Judy Young, CEO of Coastal Mississippi Tourism. Thanks for coming on, Judy.